Hello and welcome to the Growing Green podcast. Your host, Jeremiah Jennings, is the owner of Growing Green Landscapes in Birmingham, Alabama, and has a passion for growing the entrepreneurship community for those who are young in business. Being a business owner isn't easy, especially in the early years, and that's why in this show we dive into a wide range of topics covering all the challenges small business owners deal with. Even if your company is generating $1 million or more, the stories from our great guest and Jeremiah's own firsthand experiences will propel your business forward. And now, here's your host, Jeremiah Jennings.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for tuning in to an episode today here on the Growing Green podcast. This is your host, Jeremiah Jennings, and I'm super excited to come to you today with another fresh new episode for your Friday. So you're listening to this almost real time. We're recording this Thursday night. This will probably be out Friday morning. So if you're listening live, then you're just a few hours behind us. And Caleb was probably out running the UPS route if you're listening in the morning. And I don't know, I'll probably drag and brush up a hill or something. So welcome into Friday's show. If you're listening live, thank you for tuning in. We are super excited you're here. But we have a great guest interview lined up for today. We have Caleb with Masters Lawncare out of Virginia, I believe, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, that is correct. To be Southwest Virginia.
Man, when you told me you and Austin were an hour away, I was like, okay, he's somewhere in Tennessee. And then I saw your your Instagram that said Virginia. I was like, what the heck? I didn't even know. Like, this shows how like geographically not inclined that I am. I didn't even know that Virginia and Tennessee bordered. So I was like, because I've never gone up that way at all. So I was like, well, okay, then I learned something new tonight. So you just like, how far are you from the border?
So like, you have Bristol, Virginia and Bristol, Tennessee. So like our UPS facility is actually in Bristol, Virginia. So it takes me about 40 minutes to get to work to get to downtown Bristol where State Street is. It's literally just where like the state line is. If you're on one side of the street, it's Bristol, Virginia. The other side of the street is Bristol, Tennessee. And it takes me about, 45, 50 minutes to get there.
Is there a river or anything dividing that? No, nothing.
I don't think so.
Crazy. I heard that. I didn't know because I didn't know Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas were the same way. It's the same. Like you go across the border, you're in like it's the same, quote unquote, the same city, like Kansas City on both sides of the border. You're in Kansas or Missouri, and I just found out that the other day, and they're like, yeah, there's a river that divides us. That's why that it stays the same name. And I don't know. It didn't make sense to me then, but I guess that's the second time I've heard that now that the same city goes into the other state.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I guess it's kind of funny though because all the businesses that are on the Tennessee side, they got that Tennessee tax. So if anybody lives in Tennessee, then you know what the tax is over there. It sucks compared to Virginia stat tax, which you don't have to pay like. It's like some sort of tax. I don't remember, like your vehicle tax or just property tax. That's what it is. You don't have to pay property tax in Tennessee, but you do in Virginia. So that's where they get you.
Okay, yeah. So Tennessee's taxes are actually better. They're more beneficial.
Yeah, I guess theoretically. But when you're going to buy stuff, like you go buy that new Skag V ride that I just bought in Tennessee, you're going to pay that Tennessee tax, and it's going to suck.
Okay. So their taxes are higher in that area then, is what you're saying?
Yeah, their sales tax is higher than Virginia's is. I think Virginia's like 4.3% sales tax. So
I got you. That is cool, man. That is super nice. Well, good deal, dude. I tell you what, I'm excited to hop in. I'm excited to hear what's going on with your business, how your journey kind of gets started, and just do a quick rundown. It's a Friday show, probably make it a little shorter, recording late night, but I want to hear all about it, dude. Tell the world, tell the audience what you got going on, how you got started, and then let's kind of hop in and see what we can unpack today.
Yeah, for sure. I guess if any of you guys listen to Brian's podcast, Fullerton Unfiltered, I did one with him and I'll kind of just do like a brief summary. I'll kind of like make everybody go listen to that podcast if they want to listen to it. I should have pulled it up so I could have told you what number it was.
There you go.
But I got started when I was in high school, just kind of mowing some yards, and I liked working outside. I wasn't somebody that wanted to bag groceries like the local food city, like all the other kids did. So I was like, well, let's cut a few yards. And, I got up with some neighbors. I think that I had a neighbor reach out and he was like, hey, I'll pay you this to cut my grass. And then and somebody else saw me doing the same thing, riding the mower up the street to cut it. And it just kind of went from there. So when I got my license, we had actually purchased a piece of property where our house is at now. And they did a meet and greet out here for like all the new neighbors that had moved in. There'd been several neighbors move in. And I just kind of made a running joke and was like, has anybody need their yard cut? And this one lady spoke up and was like, yeah, I do. So just kind of shot her a price and she took it and just went from there. And it was bi-weekly. So, I just trammed out here like every 2 weeks, cut it. I started working for our town junior year. My dad made an agreement with me. He was like, I know you love to hunt and everything. If you'll work your hunting off in the summer for me, that way you don't have your weekends tied up when you're in school during the fall and all that, trying to work like Walmart, Food City, some fast food. He's like, so if you'll work for the town. So I worked for the town doing parks and recreation, just mowing and trimming there. And I picked up a few more yards. I think I picked up to about 12, and we're just growing. COVID hit, so it kind of was one of those things. I could get up at 7. Teachers had posted all the work. I would have it knocked out by 10, and I would just go do like my yards for the day. So I jumped up to about 16, 17 yards. Graduated high school, still had the same people, same customers, didn't try to grow any because, we're trying to balance college and high school. So it was tough because I had to be in college, like in person 3 days and virtual 2. So, I had to try to really knock most of it out, either evenings after college or on those virtual days. So about summer semester of college, I don't know, I was in college for HVAC, just wasn't a big fan of it. I knew there was good money in it. That's why I was going into it, and was working with a good friend of ours. He let me kind of do an apprenticeship and was paying me to help him and stuff like that. Just didn't really work out. And I sat down and had a serious conversation with my parents. And I was like, I don't think this is going to work. I don't really like it. I don't want to spend the rest of my life, in a job that I don't really care much for. And my dad was like, well, you got to have something, like, what do you want to do? Yeah. And I didn't share this in Brian's podcast, and it kind of slipped my mind. Theoretically, right now, I work 3 jobs in a sense. UPS of the mornings, Lawncare, and then I also volunteer for our local fire department.
Oh, that's so cool.
I was like, yeah. So I was like, let's do full-time firefighting because I can still mow, like do 2 things I like really love because it's state insurance. Because I was still thinking on the insurance side of things, like I am with UPS, and was like, that would be a good idea. I could have insurance, do a job that I love on my days off because it's 24-hour shifts. On the days off, I could mow. Well, I went and applied, didn't get the job, went through like the whole thing. And I had all my certifications except for my EMT. So that kind of kicked me out because that's what they were looking for to replace the EMT that had left. I think he had retired. And, I got on with UPS in the winter during their like seasonal. They just hire like seasonal people. And if you load good, they'll offer you a job. If not, they just keep you for the, Christmas time and just send you on your way after that. And so they offered me a job. I took it and I was like, well, it's time to grow the business now. So just started advertising. Thankfully my dad, he knows a few people, like quite a few people. He's in sales, sells insurance. And that was another thing. He was pushing me pretty hard. He was like, you gotta have the insurance. He's like, you can mow and make great money, but he's like, you do not want to pay out of pocket for insurance. So that's where the UPS comes in because it's free. Mm-hmm. I just go in and work 3.5 hours every morning and I get free insurance. Like I literally only have to work 1 day a week if I want to get my insurance just to keep it. So it just kind of went from there. And I think right now I actually just checked yard booked because I'm trying to get a count before we, I've got to make the cutoff on people, this time of year, we're getting in the spring rush, which of course everybody else is getting ready. I think I just counted, if I get the 2 approvals that I've sent out yesterday. If those get approved, I will be up to like 37, 38 clients, and I'll probably cut it off about right there, because that's getting close to about the max for running solo for me. With only being able to start to about 10:45 on the first yard. If I could start by 10, I would be okay with 40 for sure. But, rain delays and stuff like that, and not being able to start till 10:45, sometimes 11 o'clock, it can be hard to knock that many yards out. So, I just bought a new Skag V-Ride 2 61-inch 2024 model. Literally, when I started it up, it had 0.0 hours to load it onto the trailer.
That's cool. That's such a cool feeling.
Yeah, it was awesome. My dad always told me, he was like, when you buy something, it is worth more to you. He's helped me along the way with the business in some ways, because and I hate that, like, my friends always said, oh, it's daddy's money, and I'm like, no, I work my hind end off to get what I have. Trimmers are on my trailer, racks are on my trailer, I was like, that's mine. I was like, he might help me with the truck payments just because it's a lot, interest is high. But I bought it was new to me. It was used last year. Pretty much new. It had 94 hours on it. It was a Skag SWZT walk behind, 52-inch deck. With living in Southwest Virginia, it's pretty hilly.
Yeah.
So I had to have something. I didn't want the 61 just because really with the walk behind, it's hard. Trying not to scalp yards. Mm-hmm. So I picked up that walk behind, was running a Toro Z Master 2000. The engine just wasn't quite big enough. You got some of those like bigger fescue grasses that are just thick. And when they get, sometimes you got people wanting bi-weekly cuts that's thick. You got to take your time for it to look good. Sometimes I was having to run over it twice just to make sure it looked good, because I didn't want to leave the customer be like, well, this looks like crap. So I was like, so I sold it, and dude brought me cash for it, kept the cash. And as soon as I placed my order, I think it was like the next week, he called me, mower was in, I went and picked it up and just installed a grass flap on it today. So I'm ready to rock and roll for sure.
That's awesome, dude. That's super exciting. Super cool story getting to this point. I mean, you've got a lot of things happen along the way that got you here. This sounds like a lot of, like you're saying, a lot of blood, sweat, tears, a lot of just physical labor and effort, and pounding the pavement, getting clients and things, which is super, super cool to hear that you've done that and grown along the way and are now prospering for it. So, well, what does the year ahead look like? I mean, you said you're going to have 37, 38 accounts right now if these two people sign up. So what are you looking to do? Are you looking to add a team member? Are you looking to grow? What are you thinking long term?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of like getting to that point to where even if it's, like I said, we just, me and you were talking there before we started, we just don't get a ton of snow. Like, yeah, for me, all the guys that are around here that are big, Lawncare guys, they're all out for the commercial stuff. And I understand that. But this big snow event we had, no one does residential except for me and one other guy. It snowed on a Monday night into Tuesday morning. That Tuesday, I plowed 17 driveways from 6 in the morning till, I think my dad even actually went and helped me, because he was like, I can't do anything. Roads are too awful, so I'm going to come help you, which it worked out good. And I think we come in, unloaded the mower, because it's a John Deere X758 mower. It's got a hydraulic plow on it. Unloaded it and was in the house at 8:30. So it was a long day. Me and him were pretty whooped. And next day I got up and went to UPS and came home and plowed a few more. And my hydraulic control valve actually went out on the mower, and that was a like buzzkill, because I could have made money the rest of the week, because they were only given the high the rest of that week to be in the 30s, like everyday low 30, like around 30 to 27, I think. So it wasn't going to melt. And I actually just purchased a plow bracket and everything for our John Deere 2520 tractor, which I use, for landscaping and stuff. So I'm ready for the next snow event. But as far as long term goes, with hiring somebody, it's something I'm definitely would like to look into more or less sort of part-time, just for the spring and the summer season. Because like I said, in the winter, for one, it's hard for me because it's UPS early in the morning. And, I want to come home and really pretty much sleep, which, around here, unless you're into hardscaping, there's not much to do in the winter except for if it snows, or, some brush cleanups, trimming some trees, which is a great time to do it. Sap's down, but, it's just that nobody has a lot done, as far as landscaping. They want it done late fall, early spring, because I guess just where it doesn't get so warm, your ground just doesn't dry out. And when you have a piece of equipment on that turf, it just tears it up. So I don't want to quote a job at, $1,600 and spend $300 fixing the turf because I come in there and tore up their turf trying to put some landscaping in. So, it's more of the UPS thing. So I don't know. It's been a tough decision. I think it would be more something I might look at in the next 2 years, and just trying to hire somebody, because I would like to have a little bit more equipment established, because I think it would be hard, trying to run a 52-inch and a 61-inch mower. I would like to have two 61s that way, because I don't know. I'm the type of boss that if you show up and you have great work ethic and know how to run the equipment, if you can run a zero turn, I'm not against grabbing a trimmer and trimming and letting you mow. Like, I understand. I've been to the point, like when I used to work for people when I was in high school, when I wasn't mowing my own stuff, I would help some other people and just trim, and just straight trim for hours. And it sucks. And I understand that, and there's some people out there, and I'll kind of give this advice to anybody that's out there. I've been in these shoes, and maybe you've been in these shoes too. If you're hiring people and you're just constantly throwing them on the trimmer, and it's just trim all day, and you wonder why you can't keep employees, maybe you should take the time to train them on the zero turns, train them on your walk behinds, train them on your stand-ons, to where, you can take a second and let them mow a property that you're comfortable with. That's what I do. If I pull up and I'm like, hey, do you want to mow? If they say no, then, that's on them. But I don't have one bit. If they know how to run the piece of equipment and I can trust them with it. Literally last year, I was running our John Deere with the 60-inch and the Toro with the 60-inch. I dropped the dude off, let him mow, because I was like 2 days behind due to rain. And I was comfortable with that. I left him with the trimmer, left him with the handheld blower. I went and done a yard up the street, came back, picked him up. And when I picked him up, it literally looked like I had mowed the property.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. That's what it's about. Like, getting to that point to where you trust your guys. And we kind of went through that today, honestly, like real time. We are doing a big planting job right now, planting like 32 emerald arborvitae, and they got to be like we having to work around irrigation, a drainage pipe. We're having to move some irrigation. These have to be in like extremely straight rows, because they're on the border of a property where a fence is going to go up. Like, there's a lot of things relying on this. And I was there with the guys today, and I helped them do the first row, but then I had to leave for a meeting this afternoon, and I was like, look, guys, y'all got to do this. Like, y'all can do it. And I just showed, like, they know how we did everything. We set out a string line. We made sure our trees were properly and evenly spaced out, and I just said, go for it. And then I got back later this afternoon, and all the trees were in the ground. The lines were perfect. They were straight as a pole. Like, could not have gotten any better. And it was so rewarding to see, like, they're learning, you're teaching them, you're delegating, and that's cool to hear you're doing that. Even as a solo guy, when you have help, like, I agree. I wish that's something that I did earlier on in my company, was delegate the mowing as soon as you can. Like, teach new guys how to mow, because it's easy for you to sit on the mower all day and let them trim, even if they like trimming. That's even more easy to just be like, oh yeah, you got it. Like, cool, go for it. But they're not going to be able to take anything over if they just know how to trim. And so what happens if you're sick? What happens if you get hurt? That whole conversation comes into play there. And so that's cool to hear that you're already doing that and trying to go that route, trying to teach guys and help guys to come along with you. So super, super exciting for you, man. I'm excited. So when we all get started up here for spring, when we start mowing?
I think last year we started about March 15th. Just kind of looking on the calendar here, I think the way everything's kind of lining up, let me pull it up real quick. I've talked to a few other guys, and I think I've learned in business, and you're probably the same way. If there's like 5 or 6 of, landscape and lawn care businesses, you become buddy to where when, for instance, like we'll just say, for instance, me, you and Brian live in the same area. I might be booked up for the week and can't get to a landscaping job that's like would take really 2 days. And so are you. So we, pitch it to Brian, and Brian's like, yeah, I can take it on. So I've learned that, and I've been talking with all the guys. Seems like everybody's going to start around the 25th. I've talked to one guy. He says he's going to send his crew out on the 18th, and just have him do the route, just drive the route, even if they don't mow, just drive it and check the yards. He said if you go through the whole Monday route, none of them need it, go to Tuesdays. If you go all the way to Friday and only mow 2 yards that are on the Friday route, he said that's fine. So I don't know, I'll probably make some phone calls maybe on the 18th. I'll call everybody that I've got listed for Monday's schedule, or maybe shoot them a text or call them Sunday evening. I hate to, make those phone calls on Sunday evening. I know some people go to church, which, of course I do. But then, you just have some people, and I hate to bother people on the weekends, because I know when I've worked all week, I don't want to be bothered. But, maybe make some phone calls on the 18th and just go from there. But definitely, we're shooting for the 25th. And then we might have a few stragglers that we'll start on the April 1st. So
cool, man. Yeah, I hear you. I think that might be one of those things you could do like the Friday before, just kind of call end of week and get a feel and be like, hey, we're planning our route next week, and I wanted to get you before we got into the weekend here. And that would probably, most people would honestly probably be pretty receptive to that. And probably honestly, if you present it that way, that you want to catch them before the weekend, you don't want to bother them on the weekend, they'll probably thank you for it, and you'll resonate with them a little better. So maybe just an idea if you're trying to reach out to some guys and make sure that they are ready for you to come out and service and things like that. You may do that, but that's cool to hear. I'm glad that your season is almost upon you. We are in the thick of it. We start our mowing full force next week. I'm actually hoping to pick up a new mower this weekend so we can handle our scalping a little better. So a new to me mower, a very old mower. I'll buy a very old mower. So we're looking at either getting some type of Walker or an Exmark Navigator, something with a catcher on it. So we can scalp all of our yards much more efficiently this year. So down here in the South, you have to take all the dead dormant, not dead. The growth is dead. The grass is not dead though. The dormant grass off the top, you got to take it all off so the new stuff comes out better. Get all the thatch out, and it comes out a lot cleaner and healthier in the springtime. So if you don't have a bagger, it's a pain because you're blowing dead grass everywhere, and if you don't get it out of the yard, then it will clump up and just cause nasty issues down the road. It's not gonna. The yard will survive, but it's just going to leave big clumps in the middle of the yard. So we got to try to find a way to get it out better. We've usually in the past, we've tarped it, blown onto a tarp and haul it off if we need to. We'll blow it in the wood lines as much as we can. But I think this year we're going to just pull the trigger and grab one of those units, and it'll also help in the fall time with leaves. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's something I've kind of been looking into, is maybe getting I'm not so much just because of the aggravation of maybe taking my grass flap off, or any type, I guess, of chute blocker that you may run. I'm not saying that grass flap. I mean, I'll run grass flap. That's just me. Other guys.
I've ran one in the past. That was my first ever. My first ever chute blocker was a grass flap.
Yeah, and some guys, like Corey Ballard, they sell the advanced chute blocker, and then now of course they've got the Ballard blocker. Yeah. There's a few others out there, like quick shoot stuff like that. But just the aggravation of taking those off. So I've actually looked into like the accelerator bagger, or like Corey and them's bagger, one for like leaf season this coming year, because last year we were just mainly blowing them the road, and I was either the town was coming to pick up. Our local city town will pick up if you live in town limits, and then outside of town limits, so I had a guy subcontracted doing all of my pickups, so I was charging my fee plus his. So this year we're going to try to get a bagger, and I've actually looked at the tarp that Corey and them make over at Ballard with you can kind of like half zip it, because I think I'm going to try to put it in my truck bed and bag some leaves this year instead of paying my fee plus his fee. I'll just combine that together and just, make that profit there. But back to the thatch, I was looking at maybe getting the, shout out to the guys at Mega Attachment. I've been looking at their dump bed for the V-Rod already, just to kind of make it a little bit more subcompact than, using that tractor every time we got to do a mulch job. But I've looked into getting their adapter where it brings it into the 2-inch receiver. and getting a dethatcher for the front of the V-Ride to maybe look at doing that on some properties. I've got some, kind of like you were saying, same way, until those like first few cuts and you really cut that grass, like they just don't seem to want to take off really quick.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. That's cool, dude. I would say go for it. Get as many as attachments as you can for that thing, and use it to its full potential for sure. Do you have to bag all your leaves? Like, do they all fall at once? Can you mulch yours? How does it work up there?
Yeah. I mean, no, like if now, I mean, some of the like big maple trees, like mature maple trees up here, most of the time when they start falling, you get some heavy wind. I mean, they're gone like pretty quick.
Really?
Just some other, some of like oak trees and stuff like that. They're a little slower. Like it seems to be the leaves that are the bigger. Those big maple leaves.
Mm-hmm.
They fall quicker. But last year, which it's weird. And I've always said this, Southwest Virginia is behind when it comes to the lawn care industry. We have like hereditary back problems. So like my back goes out of alignment if I like slip and fall. So when I discovered like the Darwin's grip, I run those on my trimmers. Absolutely love them. Do not have to go to the chiropractor anymore. Usually I had to go when I first started mowing, cause it would just kind of, get out of the habit and your body being used to it. But it's same thing. We're behind, and it seems like the last 2 years leaf cleanups have started picking up in the area. Last year was the first year I actually did it, and I stayed pretty busy. But yeah, back to your question, that we mulch some. It's kind of customer based. It's kind of what I say, here's your options. If you live in town, if you want to wait on the town, I'll blow them to the road. They'll come pick them up. If you don't want to wait on the town, then I'll have, my subcontractor come pick them up, or I can mulch them for you. It's completely up to you. And some people are like, I'll wait on the town. I don't want to wait because the wind will blow them around, or shoot, just go for it and mulch them, which our soil is like awful here. It's very like clay type soil. So I usually would hit that with, I'll mulch them, but here's what I recommend. I recommend you let me come back in about 2 to 3 weeks, or if not in 2 or 3 weeks when spring hits, I recommend you come back and let me lime and fertilize, because those leaves are going to raise your pH super high. So I was like, you want to put that lime down to balance it out so your yard's not like insanely kind of like burn up and brown this year. You want to keep it good and green. So it was, tried to throw a little extra sales pitch there in on that.
Yeah, dude, 100%. That's cool. I'm excited to see your business, man, this year on Instagram. I hope you post on there, because I want to follow along and see what you got going on up there. It's crazy. We're right around the corner, dude. You ready?
It is. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm and like you're saying, I want to get more, socially active. I guess it's, I kind of look up to like you and like Brian, and like, I watch like Sean and Savannah Spencer with Spencer's Lawncare. I watch them, and I'm like, man, like how do they have this like so much time to like post all this stuff on social? But then I take into consideration, I'm like, you have a crew, Brian has a crew, Sean and Savannah, they're husband and wife team, and they're able to knock it out with themselves, and they're able to kind of take turns video. And so I've thought about getting a GoPro this year, but if not, definitely I got a tripod I can put my phone on, maybe shoot some shots with it, and do a little bit more social this year, kind of get my name out there. Because really, as far as Southwest Virginia goes, and just kind of in this area, as far as like social media goes, and any type of like lawn care, like we don't have anybody. So, I'm trying to bring that to Southwest Virginia. And I'm not saying like, would it be cool to one day have a podcast, and people would like be out in the streets and be like, I'll watch your YouTube videos. Yeah, that would be cool. But, am I in it for all like, all that? No, I'm in it to make tall grass short, make it pretty, and make the money, make the green stuff. But in the end, it would be cool to kind of, especially, starting now is, I'll be 23 this year. So kind of it's a way to track my journey when I'm posting stuff like that, to see where I am now versus what it might be in another 20 years.
Yeah, if nothing else, just grab your phone and just story, dude. Just do Instagram stories throughout the day. That's the way that I find the easiest and the most effective. I'm not even that good at posting like static posts and reels and things, just because it's hard to take the time. It's not hard to take the time. It's just you got to be disciplined to take the time to actually stop and video. Because I'm the kind of person, once I get started, I don't want to stop. And so I keep going. But just Instagram story along the way. That's a great way to document. I mean, all of my story archives I love going back and watching them 10, 12 months later, just to see how far we've come, the way we were doing things back then, how much we've changed and grown. And so that's what I would recommend to you is like story throughout the year as much as you can, so you can at least look back on it, like you're saying, and track your journey and watch you grow.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like, yeah, like you were saying, like the discipline. I'm the same way. Like that when you said that, that's exactly sounds like something I would say. I'm very like headstrong, and when I get something in my head, I want to do it until it's done. And I guess I get that from my dad. He's the same way. So when I start, most of the time I hit the ground running, and I don't stop like mowing until until the day is done, or unless it gets rained out, piece of equipment breaks down, heaven forbid. But yeah, I'm the same way. So I want to, like you said, discipline myself this year more to where I can take a few, Instagram reels maybe, and definitely, like you said, some stories riding down the road or whatever is definitely something is kind of the goal. And I want to discipline myself this year too. I disciplined myself maybe not as much last year because I was trying to, I got some equipment defender racks for the trailer, bought a new trimmer, bought a backpack blower, stuff like that, really reinvested in the business last year. But, thankfully we were able to pay cash for the mower, which Skag, which shout out to anybody. I don't know if anybody runs Skag, but until today's March 7th, till March 31st. I don't know if you know this, Jeremiah, but Skag is running stand-up savings. It's like 15% off MSRP. So as soon as I seen that, I was like, well, dang, I picked a good time to buy a V-Ride.
Yeah, there you go.
So,
there you go.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah, so we were able to I ended up paying cash for it, thankfully, worked my hand off for that. But the goal is for this year, I'm really going to try to like live off of my UPS income and put back to buy a new truck. Because right now I'm running a Chevy Silverado 1500, and it has a 2.7 liter 4-cylinder turbo in it. So, when you need to pull a 14K dump trailer, I have to borrow my dad's truck, and he's got a nice Duramax and nice interior that we use to pull our camper with to ride to church on Sundays. So he ain't a big fan of me getting that thing real dirty. And I got a work car that I ride to UPS for gas. So I'm looking at getting a bigger truck. I don't know if I'll get a diesel. I've been looking at the Chevrolet makes a new 6.6 with that Allison transmission, and I love that Allison transmission. I think it's kind of hard to beat. So we're looking into selling my truck and getting a new truck next spring. So that's the goal for this year for sure. Is to discipline myself on the money and really just buy things that are needed. And I know, we all want to buy, I guess you could say, materialistic things and, personal things, what we want. So I'm going to, like, if I really want something, be like, okay, here's my UPS money, how many weeks, like how many paychecks do I need to have in the bank before I can buy that materialistic thing if it's not reinvesting into the business. So I want to try to really discipline myself on that side of things for this year to achieve that goal, so we can get a dump trailer, build a box on it. Like I seen you got your side rails put on yours, build a leaf box, get a debris remover, stuff like that, just to kind of improve the business.
Yeah, man, I think you're on the fast track to do it, dude. It sounds like you're making good decisions. I love I love when people say that they pay cash for stuff. I think it's a good model to run. I'm not an advocate, but I'm never going to be against debt as long as you're using it to make money and you're using it wisely. But I mean, it's hard to argue with. You got the cash to pay for it, man. Just pay for it and keep reinvesting and grow that way. So stay safe, stay out of debt if that is what helps you grow your business and is successful for you. So I say keep running it, dude. It sounds like you're going, look like you're taking off. This is going to be a great year for you.
Oh yeah, I definitely don't think, my he's the same way. If you got the money, just pay for it. And I'm the type of person that if I don't have the money, I'm not going to buy it. Like, why would I go into debt for something I don't have the money for? Put back to when you can buy it. If you have to take some sacrifice here and there, just because, if you're eating fast food 6 days out of the week, maybe you should cut back and go to the grocery store and just, be willing to eat some sandwiches, which anymore, I know groceries are just as high. Inflation's awful. and elections coming up, so it's about to get even worse. We went from, I don't know what gas prices are like down there for you. We went about 2 weeks ago, gas had actually dropped down, lowest I'd seen in a long time, 2.89, and today it was 3.26. So I wish they would hurry up and decide what they want to do with that, because that plays a big factor in mowing season for sure.
Yep, 100%, dude. We are kind of in the same. We're kind of in the same boat there. Our gas got pretty low, and then it spiked again. So it's just part of it, man. It's just part of it. Figure out how much you're using, charge it to the customer, and keep on rolling. So that's all. That's all you can do nowadays, I guess. But
oh yeah. I'm trying to learn. This year I've done a lot more landscaping, so I was trying to. And it was hard because I'm just now really getting in and diving in. This will be my first full year using Yardbook. To, I guess, probably not its max potential, because there's just so much stuff that you can learn and try to use with it. But last year, we adopted it about halfway through, because I just got tired of trying to take payments through PayPal and Venmo, and you just didn't have customers that were loyal enough to send it. I had to request it and send them a text message. So now it's an email, and I tell them they have one warning, and if they don't, they have a net of 7 days, and I feel like that's fair. I mean, that gives you a whole week from the last mow to make that payment. And I pretty much tell them they get one warning. After that, there is a late fee. I think I've got it set up every 2 or 3 days. It adds $3 or something like that. And most of the time after that first late fee, they quit. They make sure they pay that payment the day of mow, because they don't want that to happen again.
yeah, man, you need to get you a card on file here soon, though. If you're using Yardbook, you got to get everybody switched over while you're still young and got a young business. I mean, got to get them moved over before you get 100+ people in there.
Oh yeah, and I think me and Brian kind of talked about that. Where maybe, I don't know if we got to talk about it. I kind of wanted to ask him, but it was one of those things. First podcast, I was a little nervous, but I had a few people, that I talked to about putting card on file where I could just charge card on file, and I had a lot of kickback. They just didn't like it about, them not being, which I knew, if, you could charge them. I was like, it'll send you an invoice, or a bill that you were, a receipt that you paid for it. But I did find that when I switched to Yardbook and emailing, I guess just the notification of that email and them actually seeing the email and the bill and all that, they're way more loyal to pay it than it was with the PayPals and the Venmo, because I honestly think half the time more people have their email notifications on than they had their PayPal and Venmo, because it was just an app that they didn't really use, so they didn't have their notifications turned on, so they had no idea that I had sent them a bill. So it's working out pretty good, and I've got several people that use, I guess, their work email, so that I think they usually pay me while they're at work, because I have some people I'll send it in the evenings and they'll pay me the next day at 10 a.m. I guess, whenever they get to work and they're on their computer or whatever, checking emails for the day, and they'll see that and they're like, oh, I need to pay him. Which I have some customers that are pretty good. I'll send the bills, say Monday, for the few customers that are on Yardbook that aren't paying me cash or check. And usually by Monday evening or Tuesday morning when I wake up, they're usually all paid. So I've got some pretty good customers. I usually try to weed out all the ones that, that just aren't super loyal, and I'm pretty brutally honest too. So I just pretty much lay it flat out how it is. And I'm like, either you're going to pay me, or if this is how it's going to be and I got to keep, fighting for my money, then I'm not the guy for you, because I rely on you to pay me to pay my bills. So, until you pay me, I can't do that. So, if you're not going to pay me, then I guess I'm just not the guy for you. You're going to have to find somebody else.
Well, I've got a challenge for you. I think that by the end of this year, I think you should try to bring on anybody you bring on new should go to a card on file. And I would try to push everybody you got that's still doing cash or check, at least get them, try to get them in the system as much as you can. Try to get them over to the credit card payments, just because you're streamlining your cash flow, man. As you grow, you don't want cash straining you. And again, take my word, and it doesn't really matter. I know the change that it made for us when we got all of our stuff into Yardbook, got all of our invoices in the month set up. through card on file and things, like, man, your cash flow changes, it goes through the roof. It totally changes the way your business operates. So I would say, at least if nothing else, start transitioning your ones over that you have. But then anybody new you bring on, man, stick them with a card on file. Like, that's the only way you do business, and they don't know anything different. It's the same reason the same way they put their card on file for Netflix and Amazon or whatever subscription they have is the same way they're doing it for you. So I would push for it as much as you can.
I got you. I guess the biggest thing, which really for me, the people that pay me cash, which, it's one of them things, you pay cash, you stick it, I might stick it in like my money bag.
Oh, yeah.
Eventually I'll take it to, yeah, you'll take it to your, I take it and put it in my savings. Government don't never see that. Hope they're not listening to this podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But the checks, really, the cash and checks is just mainly my old people that just aren't tech savvy enough. Most of the younger people, that have kind of grown up and know the technology, they're all game for it, because they'll say, do you take PayPal or Venmo? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry. If you want to pay me electronically, I can email you a bill. And then I just flat out tell them, because I pay for my yard book now. And I'm like, there is like a 3% fee or whatever. I think that's what I have it set to, cover kind of that Stripe fee, that Stripe transaction fee. So, and most of them are like, most of them are like, okay, that's fine. No big deal. Cause I guess they just don't have enough responsibility to remember either leave me cash or check. So
yeah. Well, it's inconvenient now. I mean, I don't even keep checks anymore. Like, I have one old checkbook from like 3 years ago when I opened my accounts, but that's it. Like, I don't keep checks. I don't really keep that much cash anymore. And it's just it's just the way the times that we're in. So it's easier for everybody. And that's the thing with card on file, guys. Like, when your customer's giving you pushback, or you're scared to implement it for new customers, you just have to take it and make sure that the customer knows you're doing it for their benefit. You're doing it so they don't have to worry about leaving you cash and checks under the mat or in the grill. They don't have to worry about keeping up with an invoice. All they have to do is store it one time, and then you're going to charge it at the end of every month for those previous month's services or whatever agreement you have it set up for. And then they're going to get a receipt as soon as that's charged. And then that's their documentation. That's all they need, and life is good. So their life is easier. It's easier for them, less hassle, less things like that. So as long as you spin it to where they know, it's not really spinning, it is literally the truth. Like, does it benefit both of you? Absolutely. But it does benefit the customer. Like, they don't have to keep up with leaving checks and cash. Like, and when I have services done at my house, like, card goes on file with whoever I do it with. Like, I don't even think about it. Like, put my card, charge the card, whatever, move on. I'm not going to sit here and try to leave cash and check for you. Like that, I don't have time for that. I just don't. It's just not the world we live in anymore. And so that's something that I would say to anybody who's out there struggling or trying to decide whether you want to do that or not moving forward. That's how you present it to the customer. And 97.5% of the time, they're going to be like, yeah, cool, let's go with it. And if they're not, then you just say they're not the right customer and move on. And so I definitely get, like, your older people that they probably don't even have a credit card. They probably do everything in cash. They go to the bank every week once their Social Security gets deposited and get cash out. Like,
yeah, don't even have Wi-Fi.
Exactly. Like, I understand people have that still, but and if they're leaving it consistently in the same place at the same time, and it's going to be there, then that's a different story. But we got to stop chasing our money. There's no reason for us to be chasing money nowadays. There's too many resources available, too much responsibility on your plate to be out chasing money. So that's kind of my end of show rant there. Take it for what you would like, but I would say that that's a solid piece of advice there. So, well, Caleb, dude, tell me a little bit about where we can keep up with you, where you can follow you on social as you go through this year ahead.
Oh yeah, for sure. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Master.Lawncare. Hit me up, shoot me a DM if you ever have any questions. I might be young. I'll answer you the best I can. If not, I'm going to shoot you over to Jeremiah. And if he don't know, he's probably going to shoot you to Brian. I don't know. Yeah, you can look me up there. Let's see here. We just launched back around Christmas. I started a YouTube channel.
Okay,
it's
cool.
More or less. So far, it's just been, I've got 2 reels on there because I've not really had a ton to post.
Yeah.
Which I kind of need to get a GoPro. I feel like to maybe, try to do more of that. I could post some reels on there using the phone. Yeah, hit us up on Instagram, Facebook. I'm always down to talk lawn care. I don't know. I guess it's my itch. I sit around and I find myself on my Lawncare page on Instagram more than I do my personal page, just like looking at everybody else's reels, looking at the work they're doing, trying to, look at different stuff like this. Earlier before the podcast, I was sitting here looking at, I do it for free, but I do it as a tax write-off. I mow my high school where I went to school at, I mow their softball field, but they also give me free advertisement. Instead of having to pay for the advertisement, they give me free advertisement. So kind of a win-win there. But I was looking at ways like to mow the field different this year than I did last year to kind of get, some cool design in it, make it kind of pop, stand out. And, so that way somebody be like, who done this? And then when they announce my name during the game, they're like, man, I need to give him a call. It looks like he does great work. So that's where we're at with that.
Cool, dude. That's awesome. Well, guys, go follow along with the journey happening this year in South Virginia. Is that right? Did you say Southwest Virginia?
Yeah, Southwest Virginia. We're literally, if you look at the tip of Virginia, it's you got Northeast Tennessee, and then we're right there, West Virginia and Kentucky. So we're just kind of all right there in that little peninsula.
Cool, dude. Well, I'm excited to follow you along on Instagram this year, see where you go, see where the business goes, and hopefully you grow and get things rocking and rolling for you. I know you will. Are you going to Equip this year?
Yeah, I'm like really praying and hoping. I'm pretty my plan is with UPS. My boss has told me this before. If I come in, do my job, keep my mouth shut, don't complain like some people do. Or, I guess his biggest thing is he hates it when people just call and say, hey, I'm not coming in. He understands if you're actually sick, if you're not, just calling in or, so I just come in, do my job, and he's pretty good. He's let me off for a lot of fire department, trainings, that I've had to do on the weekends. So I'm really hoping this year, cause I only got a week of vacation and I've already got a vacation planned out. So I'm really hoping this year he'll let me take off for the few days to head up to Louisville. Because we were supposed to come last year, and a fire department class came open that I had been dying to take that only comes open once every 5 years, and this past year was the year, so I had to take it and couldn't come to Equip. So Lord willing, we're shooting to be there this year.
That's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Well,
I actually think me and Austin are going to link up and ride up together since we're pretty close, because I was looking for somebody to ride up with last year, because I was like, man, I don't want to drive to Louisville. It's 5 or 6 hours, maybe even longer. I can't remember for me. So I was like, I don't want to ride. So me and him's kind of done talk that I think we're going to try to link up and ride up together.
Cool, man. Yeah, that's super cool. I would highly encourage you to get up there. And for anybody that doesn't know, Austin, he's talking about Austin Ayers there in Nashville. No, not Nashville. What part? Of
Johnson City.
Johnson City in Tennessee there. Y'all are pretty close to each other. And you had heard our episode with him, and y'all got to link up there. So that's super cool. Excited to see y'all's relationship grow up there, because it's always great getting around like-minded people that are trying to do the same thing as you, go the same places, and change the world, change the future, change their business. So
I think we're gonna link up actually Saturday morning and hit up the Waffle House. And another good friend of ours, shout out to him, Jordan Ortega with I have a hard time pronouncing his business name, but it's 10-4 Lawncare.
Okay.
So if y'all want to hit him up on Instagram, good guy. I think we're gonna all try to meet up. And then we're talking about the podcast with Brian. If y'all want to kind of go hear my full story, is a little bit of a kind of quick short summary earlier. It's episode 554 on the Fullerton Unfiltered. If you guys want to go listen to that.
Cool, man. That's fantastic. Well, if you go to Equip, you better register with code GG50. That's the only one's going to get you in. It's the only one's going to save you some money. So you better.
Oh, you don't want me to use Brian's 10?
Nah, get that crap out of here. Get that out of here. We don't need none of that. So. Well, that's awesome, dude. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this show. I appreciate Caleb's time tonight and staying up late night recording this with us. Really, really good show. A lot of value in this one. Good conversation. Good time hanging out, heading into the weekend here. So I appreciate each and every one of you that listened to the show today. Caleb, I appreciate your time again. It means the world that we can get great guests on like you to keep the show rolling, man.
Oh, yeah. And I appreciate, you willing me to be on here, and when I shot you the DM, I didn't mean it as, you got to have me on here. I'm, begging you to be on here. I was just kind of shooting it out to say, if you ever need anybody and you don't have anybody, give me a message. So, and you shot that out. I was like, well, dang, I was like, I was just trying to be humble and just, but I'm always about making friendships, and I know, if you don't live close, but you can still chat, and then, maybe everybody like link up at Equip or something like that. So
that's what it is, man. And that's what it's about. Like, guys, I'm just looking here to have a good community, grow the community. So you want to get on the show, reach out, tell me a little bit about what your business is doing, and we'll get you on and have a good time hanging out and having good conversations. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. For real, it means the world. If you do want to register for Equip, those codes are live. GG50 will get you in, save you 50% on early bird registration. Believe that gets you in for $12.50 this year. So somewhere around there. Even if you don't go, you should go ahead and register, because it's $12.50 if you miss out. If you don't register and you want to go the week of, I had a guy tell me the other day they ended up taking their team up there, spent $100 a ticket. I'm pretty sure by the time, because they registered like at the event. I was like, dude, you should have just registered back in early bird pricing, and even if you didn't go, you're out $10. Like, it's not a big deal. But instead, they decided they wanted to go right before, and they paid $100 at the door. So don't do that. Use code GG50, get you in, save 50% to get you into Equip. But with that, here for the do, guys, thank you for tuning in to the show today. Hope you enjoyed it, and that's going to wrap this one up. So we look forward to catching up with everybody here on the next one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Growing Green podcast. It is an honor to have you listening, and we hope you receive valuable advice to help take your business to the next level. Don't forget to follow the podcast so you'll be notified when our next episode drops.